Hi, bass family, and welcome to Everything Bass with Dale Titus. Today we're going to be working on the major pentatonic scale. Pentatonic scales are just so widely used, so popular, and so easy to improvise with that I think you'll be excited if it's something new to you. And even if it's not, maybe I can give you some new ideas on how to practice it and use it. So today in this short video we're going to cover just how to play it, what it's made up of, and give you a couple practice suggestions. So first of all, Pentatonix, 5 tones. That's a 5-tone scale. Now the major pentatonic consists of a root, a major second, a major third, a perfect fifth, a major sixth, and the octave. Now if you compare this to the Ionian or major scale, you'll notice there's no perfect fourth, no major seventh. And in the process of improvising, if you hang on a fourth at the wrong time or you hang on a seventh at the wrong time, it can create a little bit of tension that you might not want. So I love the major pentatonic scale because it's been made really safe and fun to use, and that's why you hear it in music all over the world, and it's been such a prevailing scale to learn. So a couple suggestions to practice it. First of all, I believe that when you're learning something new, try to have a bunch of memory triggers, and those are different ways to look at it. So I'm going to show you some of those ways. Now the first way was intervallic, and if you've studied your intervals, you'll know that the scale consists of a root, major second, major third, perfect fifth, major sixth, and an octave. If you're unfamiliar with what I just said, the intervals, don't worry. There's a series of lesson videos covering all the intervals in one octave. And they're broken up into small pieces, so again, you can focus on a couple, get them down, and move on. So again, if that was weird to you and were confused by that, check out those videos, and I think that'll make more sense. Well, let's look at a couple different ways. In this fingering, you could also think of it as which fingers you're using, because you're playing middle, pinky, index, pinky, index, pinky. Now that means you didn't use your ring finger once, so that's again a memory trigger. So if you think major pentatonic, I won't use my ring finger, and really you just use your middle finger to start, and everything else is pinky, index, pinky. Now if you're new to the bass, that might be a bit of a stretch for you right now, and that's okay. I promise you, if you keep practicing just playing music, your stretch will get wider and it'll be easier. But I do want you to kind of get this discipline down, which is 1 finger per fret. So you play with your middle finger here. Now even if you have to right now slide your entire hand up to play the pinky, and then slide back to play the index, slide forward, and keep doing this, that's still better than if you were to use 1 finger. Because this is not really musical. You can't really play freely with just 1 or 2 fingers. So I encourage you to try that. Now a couple of suggestions as you're getting this scale memorized. Don't just practice up the scale, practice down. Music happens in both directions. So play up and then play down. And use the same finger discipline. It might seem I'm being like overly critical, like, oh, use that, but I believe it also helps. It just helps in every aspect. It just helps you memorize the thing. It helps you not become dominant with just a couple fingers. As you're actually playing music with it, it'll give you a little more freedom. And so anyway, that's enough about that. Now let's move on to some practice suggestions. Because if you just play up and down the scale in one position, it's really not getting to know it. So what I'd like for you to do is start with C here, and then play up and down, and then go up to the C on the 8th fret, go up to the C here on the 15th fret, and that's just a start, because then and I should say, if you're a 5-string, 6-string, 7-string player, then of course move on and try it in all the places. Play everywhere, because music happens everywhere too. So you don't just want to become like reliant that when you see a C major chord, you're going to just go to that 3rd fret on the A string. That's too limiting, and I don't think you'll enjoy it. But we also just can't do it in C. So I would just try every letter in the alphabet, including flats and sharps. Years ago, a great teacher of mine suggested that every day I choose a different root for the scale. So one day I would do C, the next time I'd do G and go up and down, then I'd do D and go up and down, and he had me work through the cycle. But you really can just do it alphabetically if you want. So the point is, you want to be ready to use this scale whenever the need arises, which means you got to know how to play it off of every possible root. Now, I just said something there that's important, and that's you have to understand when you're learning a scale, you need to know what chord it matches up with, or chords in some cases, or else you're never going to use it. It's like if someone gives you a really cool tool for your carpenter's workshop, but they don't tell you what it does, your chances are you're not going to open it up and try. It'll just stay in the box. So with the major pentatonic scale, it works great for major triads or major chords. Now that's for if you're looking at sheet music and you just see a letter by itself, like B flat, there's nothing after that. G, there's nothing after that. F sharp. That means it's a major triad. And that works perfectly for this scale. This fits that scale perfectly. It also works for major 7 chords. It works for dominant chords. Now the reason why it works for those 2 chords is those 2 chords have sevenths. The major 7 chord has obviously a major 7 interval in it. The dominant 7th chord has a minor 7 interval in it. This scale doesn't have any 7. So it's universal to anything with a major third that you can play to. Now I know what some of you guys might be, hey Val, but you can also do this. Yeah, at this point when I'm teaching just the scale to maybe someone who's never seen it before, I'm kind of limiting the scope of usage so it's understandable and manageable. Something that I think people can feel like they get to. Don't be surprised if years down the line, as I'm teaching new videos, I'll show you creative ways to use it against chords that it might not seemingly match, but it sounds so good. So be patient, and all that's going to come out. So what I'd like to show you now is if you don't have the capability to play over a major chord, if you have a friend or friends that could come over and play piano, guitar, or anything and strum major chords, and you could play and practice improvising with the scale, that's awesome. But if you don't, there's a couple things you can do. Simply with your iPhone or Android phone, if you have any kind of like voice memo thing, you can actually play the chord on your bass. Now I'll show you that. For major triads, you want to play the root. You can use your pinky or your ring finger. I use my ring finger. And then you put the major third on the next string, and then you put the perfect fifth on the string after. So let me tell you exactly. This is a C major chord. So the C is on the A string, the E is on the D string, and the G is on the G string at the 12th fret. And that is a C major chord. So if you can record that, or if you're fortunate enough to have a looper, just loop playing, and don't get too nutty with like rhythms and stuff, just brush the chord so you can just hear the tonality of the triad, and then practice the scale over it and try different things and see what works and doesn't work. I will be doing a lesson in the future on bass chords on the bass and one on looping, so just keep checking us out, and that might help you further. Also, if you become a Patreon subscriber, I'll have different audio tracks that you can download and play along to that will help you with all chords and things like that. But for now, just learning this scale, up and down, and being able to play it all over the bass, any root, and you'll be ready to go. So that's the major pentatonic scale. If I've missed something or confused you, please just write a comment in the section below, and I promise you I'll check them all out. I will check them usually in the evenings during the week and all day during the weekends, because I do have a great job and I don't want to disrespect the owners of the company that I work for. So that's why if you post something during the day, I might not reply till the next or till the night. Okay, so major pentatonic scales. Really great. It's a must-have in your arsenal of melodic ideas to become a better bassist. Today's encore item, unique enough, is Standing in the Shadows of Motown, and this book about James Jamerson. Some of you know who he is, or what impact he's had on our instrument, and some of you might not know James Jamerson. But this book is phenomenal, and there's a couple reasons why I'm recommending it with this video. Is because if you really want to see some of the most coolest things you can do with a major pentatonic scale, James is the guy. The first half of this book tells his story. Second half are transcriptions of songs that he played bass on. And what's very cool is there are CDs, or in the newer versions, there's MP3 or links to go play along to the audio files, where you'll hear some of today's top bass players playing James Jamerson bass lines. and the sheet music goes along, so you can really get in and dig into it. I will let you know, on the version I have at least, there's no tablature. It's just standard notation. So if you're sight reading basis, this is great because it's got some of the coolest rhythms that you can practice reading and some of the hardest keys that you'll have to read in. But it's a really great resource to develop your reading. So anyway, that's your encore item for the day today. Standing in the Shadows of Motown, the story of James Jamerson. Just one of my biggest influences. So thanks for stopping by. Please encourage you to hit the like button on this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit the little bell icon so that every time I load a new video or have any announcements, you'll be the first to know. Also, I do encourage interaction. For 30 years I've taught private lessons, and I really love that interaction back and forth between the student and me. So I'm hoping we can recreate that through the comment section. So if you have a comment, something that maybe I confused you by going too fast on, I'll take these, and based on what you guys are saying, I might do another follow-up video. I might email you directly. Email. By the way, I realize I haven't ever told you guys that you can email me at dtitus@daletitus.com. I know that's the most egotistical email address you could possibly have, but no one's taken it from me. So thanks for stopping by. Practice your major pentatonics, jam with them, make some music, get some friends together, have them play some major chord progressions, and see what it can do for you. It's just such an amazing scale, and I hope you have a fun time with it. Thanks so much.